Welcome back after the break. And as India's IPO market continue to remain one of the busiest globally, with a strong pipeline of companies preparing to hit primary market, as investor participation grows, the focus is increasingly shifting from chasing listing gain to identifying fundamentally strong businesses with reasonable valuation. So, what should retail investor look for before applying to an IPO? To understand that, we have joined by a special guest today, Sarvam Goel, founder of Pocketful. Welcome to the Money Show, Sarvam. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
taking your
Thank you,
time out.
Anurag. Thank you, Anurag. Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Sharon, help us understand. Do you agree with our view that in last 2-3 months, number of IPOs have increased every week? There is a new listing is there, and retail investors are excited about the listing gains.
I mean, absolutely. I completely agree with that. It's a good time to be in the IPO market. I think IPO markets are very healthy right now. The primary market companies are coming at very reasonable valuations, and a lot of breadth of companies are coming. So in the last few weeks, in fact, we've seen a wide, array of IPOs coming from financial services, technical textiles, manufacturing, aerospace, etc. In fact, I'll give you a fun fact. In July alone, we saw about 32,700 CR of fundraise and IPOs, which is almost 90% of whatever the fundraise was done in the entire H1. Obviously, that includes SBI AMC as well. But I think good times to be in. IPO markets, I believe, are generally, very good for the economy. This
What
entire
has really
money,
changed in
the
July?
households.
So 90% of fundraising is happening in month of July only, in comparison to the whole H1 from January to June. What has really changed in July? Help us
No,
our understand.
Yeah, so basically, see, there were obviously two big IPOs like SBI and Manipal, right, that came during that time, which roughly raised about 18,000 crores. But I think generally, the IPO markets are good, healthy, valuations are very reasonable, and hence we are seeing a larger interest from the retail investors.
But now with all the platforms available, it's very easy for retail investors to apply for an IPO. So, what 2-3 things they should keep in mind before applying, or the basic rule, which I understand that okay, wait for the third day, and if the overall subscription is 4, 5, 6 times, then just apply, and if the subscription is less than 100%, then don't apply. That is my basic rule. But what is your basic rules, or what you will tell our viewers that what 3 things they should keep in mind while applying for a new IPO?
I think firstly, developing on what you said, I 100% agree with that. That's a great thumb of rule. In fact, we did some number crunching on, exactly what you said. So I also feel investors should wait because then you have more data to decide on. And we saw that companies that have a higher subscription, right? Uh, they probabilistically they have a higher chance of having a listing gain. In fact, the correlation factor is of about 0.62. However, on the contrary, right, as a caveat, subscription does not have any correlation to say the current market price because over the longer term, we saw that the correlation between higher subscription number, and the gain is about zero point 0.2. But apart from that, few thumb rules that I follow myself. So essentially, the mantra is understand it, price it, validate it, wait for it, and ignore the hype. सबसे पहले I everyone should understand करती क्या है company. What does the business do? It is very easy to now understand what the business does. Simply upload the RHP on your preferred AI platform like ChatGPT, and my prompt that I use is explain me like I'm a 5-year-old kid. Number one. Number two, a good, an average company in a good sector with good tailwinds is usually better than a good company in a, in a bad sector with with heavy headwinds. So that is another approach that I follow. Valuation really matters a lot. Your entry price matters a lot. For example, in the case of Zomato, we saw that the revenue from 21 to 26 financial year, the revenue grew 27 times, but the IPO, the price only grew by 2 times. So again, valuation matters a lot. And I think validation. So, for example, two things that I look for are a good set of anchor investors. So, if you have a good set of domestic institutions as well as foreign institutions investing in the company, that's usually a good signal that, okay, fine, they've done their diligence. And apart from this, we saw that, say, if you had invested in all the IPOs of the top five bankers in main board and in SME, so on an average, the main board bankers, the top five bankers have given, 65% of times they've given a listing gain. And in fact, in SME, this becomes probably more important than ever because we saw that approximately 85% of the times there was a positive listing gain. So with respect to, say, the likes of HAME Securities, Beeline, and GYR. And lastly, as you rightly said, subscription matters a lot. Wait for the last day. And one more thing that I want to say. See, I would say people to not look at GMP, but what happens is the more you tell no to people, the more they want to do it. So I know people would be looking at GMP, but my caveat on that would be that a lot of these apps are, rigged. So be very, very careful and don't make it the standalone factor in deciding where to invest.
Historical data suggests that GMP gray market premium gives us little bit of hint, a little bit of idea that okay, on which side this IPO is going. Most of our on Google also it mostly search that gray market premium of XYZ IPO.
What happens, Anurag? You have to take all these factors that I told in consolidation together. You can't solely decide basis one factor.
And one more question I want to ask you because there are few senior citizens or few investors. They have a money of 5 lakh, 8 lakh, 10 lakh in their account, and they really feel that okay, this company is a very good company, and they want to invest more than the retail quota. So, what are the options available for them? Because in retail quota, the limit is only up to 2 lakh rupees only.
So what you're saying is in retail quota. So for SME IPOs, the quota in retail is about 2 lakhs. In main board, it is about 15,000 rupees. And the big HNI application is of about 10 lakh rupees. So they can definitely apply in the big HNI segment.
Retail, per lot is 15,000 up to 2 lakh they retail can apply.
So in main board IPOs, your minimum lot size is 15,000 rupees in terms of value. And in SME IPOs, the minimum lot size is of about 2 lakh rupees.
Okay. And now help us understand three don'ts that one should avoid while applying for IPO. Really, as a basic thumb rule, that there is a complete avoid for an IPO.
See, don't solely apply on the basis of GMP, right? That is a strict no. I burnt my hands. Number one. Second, so basically, you need to understand what the business is. For example, you would have remembered there was a company that had an auto dealership, right? And that got subscribed 400 times. And then that company is probably one third of what it was when it listed. So don't go for the hype and just be wary of the red flags. So the basic red flags are again high debt, legal cases, sudden profit spike just before an IPO, among others.
Final question: is there any trick where if a IPO is getting good subscription and somebody is applying and there is a probability to get allotment also, it's completely on your luck or it's completely on a means if a 10 times subscription is there, so one will get and nine will not get.
See, I have a secret trick, but should I reveal it?
it to our viewers?
Okay, fine. So my secret trick is if you are kind to people around you, right, you will automatically have a higher chance of allotment. That is the only trick. You do good to the world, you do good to others, and in all likelihood you will have a higher probability.
Okay, so how one should have this trick which you have shared, that you need to be good to others, then only there are higher chances of allotment.
I mean, just be kind to others, kind to the world, kind to the people around you. Otherwise, there is no other formula for
There is
this.
there
But
is
but
no.
one practical advice is that in IPOs that have a higher subscription, don't bother applying for more than the minimum lots, because the way the formula works is you will get the minimum allotment only. So there is no point in putting in big applications, because you will be allotted the minimum lot size.
Okay, you mean to say that if IPO is getting a subscription of 6 times, 7 times, 10 times, then go for only minimum lot, which is 15,000 rupees.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you so much for joining our The Money Show and sharing your tips, and the most important tips, that be kind to others. That is a secret for the IPO allotment. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Anara. Pleasure talking.
So that's a wrap on this edition of The Money Show, your daily guide to the world of personal finance. But don't go anywhere. More on the other side on ET Now. Stay tuned.